Alderman Garriga,
Here.
Halloran,
Here.
Lewis,
Here.
Moranci,
Here.
Nizan, Rosenthal,
Here.
Starr, Trombley,
Here.
Walker,
Here. I don't know.
Wolf,
Here.
President DiPietro,
Here.
quorum present.
Thank you. Can I have a introduction and a second to dispense with the reading of the minutes of the February 16th meeting and place them on file? An introduction, please.
I'll introduce it, Rebecca.
A second, please.
Calvin, I'll second.
Thank you, Calvin. Thank you, Rebecca. Can everyone, all those in favor signify by saying aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries. Thank you all. Copies of the committee reports are on your virtual desks. Can I have an introduction to place the committee reports on file? An introduction, please.
Calvin, I'll make an introduction.
Thank you, Calvin. A second.
I'll second it.
Who was that, Rebecca?
Okay.
Oh, thank you. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Anyone opposed? The motion carries. Okay. As you know, among our communications, we have both the audit report and the dog control reports for January and February. Would you like to see those, or can we just proceed? Anyone?
Is there anything new?
No, just that they recovered a number of dogs, found them, brought them to their, he was contacted a number of times, managed to find the dogs, brought them home, notified somebody without a license, about someone from not in the city, that they were, they needed to have a license in the city. And that's about it. Can I have an introduction then to accept the communications?
I'll introduce it, Rebecca.
Thank you, Rebecca. A second, please.
Calvin, I'll second.
Thank you, Calvin. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay, Shaheen, can you post the list of bills, please? There it is. Can you scroll a little bit down, because there are a couple on down there? Yeah. There you go. Perfect. Oh, I didn't even see that one. Yeah. Okay, questions? New ones are actually last month we had Amano McGann is oh, I just wrote this down somewhere. I looked them up. They are related to our parking meters. No, I mean the parking kiosk. Let's see.
What's First Light?
First Light is our energy, so our that's the our energy company right down the street here on Route 9.
Gotcha.
I always forget what is Passport Labs? I've asked this before.
Passport Labs, yeah, it's our ticket software and the whole ticketing process and software.
Hmm.
Any other questions? You're not interested in what the mayor spent $44.97?
I didn't want to ask.
Hello? Oh, you didn't want to ask?
Yeah.
Okay, and those ones down at the bottom all come out of various funds, not, from the general fund or anything like that. So, can I have an introduction, please?
I, Rebecca, will introduce it.
Thank you, Rebecca. A second, please.
Calvin, I'll support.
Okay, guys, come on, settle among yourselves. Well, we'll let Malachi have one, Calvin, okay?
Yeah, no problem.
And Tracy, a roll call vote, please.
Alderman Garriga,
Aye.
Halloran,
Aye.
Lewis,
Aye.
Moranti,
Aye.
Rosenthal,
Aye.
Trombley,
Aye.
Walker,
Aye.
Wolf,
Aye.
President DiPietro,
Aye.
carries.
Okay, before we get to resolutions, there was two scheduled presentations that had to be canceled. First, Michael Chimides was going to report on the DRI, and unfortunately, he had a pressing family emergency. So I hope everything's okay, but he will not be able to do that, and we'll have to postpone that till next month. Although I think there may be some other meetings in between now and then. I'm not certain of that. Secondly, I was hoping to have a presentation by a developer who is in the process of negotiating with the school district for JLE. Unfortunately, it's been bogged down on the school board side, and they're in session tonight. So maybe they're finalizing what they need to finalize in order for the developer heed. But the developer had hoped to have their deal completed before tonight, but haven't been able to. So that needs to be postponed. And if things go well, we'll have a special meeting between now and the next Common Council meeting in order to hear their presentation.
And this is for an affordable develop, a sizable affordable housing development, correct?
Sizable affordable housing development at the former JLE. I'm sorry that can't be presented tonight, but call your school board members and find out what's going on. The next presentation is a tripartite presentation. There are three presenters. I don't know who goes first. It's a local landscape designer, Dale Schaefer, local architect, and Walter Chatham, and a local lawyer who just happens to be related to me by marriage, Dorothy Heil, and they are the Friends of the 7th Street Park. So Shaheen, will you let them share your screen? I don't know who's going first.
Well, I'm going to be going first. I'm going to share my screen. If I can see it. So what's going to happen is I'm going to be presenting the first part of the presentation and the second part, and then Dale Schaefer is going to be presenting the third part. So let me just get this on the screen. Okay, it's on the screen now. Am I echoing?
Yes, because you're in the room next to mine. That's why. You're not on the screen yet.
Okay, hold on. I'm trying to share my screen. Tom, do you want to come in here and do it for me?
Okay, that's cheating.
Oh, there's the one. Why, Shaheen, is there a reason she can't share it?
Yeah. Yeah. I see. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, here we go. Okay, it was minimized. Okay, trying to share my screen. Is it sharing?
Dot, if you've hit share screen and then you select, you're given a choice of like browser windows that you want to share, right?
Right.
And then you have to again click share screen once you've selected the window that you want to share.
I don't see it here, so maybe we can have one of the other two people share their screen. Walter or Dale, would you like to share your screen?
I try to share mine. Am I allowed to share?
Yeah, I think they opened it for anybody to share.
Not an auspicious beginning, folks.
No, it's not. Oh, I just found it. Okay,
Here we go.
here we go.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Can people see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent. So we put together a little deck, and we should say first who we are. The Register Star had an article today that described me as a lawyer and described Walter as a Copenhagen architect and Dale as a landscape architect. The three of us got together just to talk about what could be done to improve park in Hudson, this what's known as the 7th Street Park. And so we wanted to present with you what we wanted to present to you. First, the history, second, the current status, and 3, the plan. So the history, here you'll see on a map of Hudson that's from 1822, I think, that there's a public square that is directly at the end of the Columbia Turnpike, and you can see Green Street coming in there. It's a little bit different than what you're used to seeing now because the roads have changed. So we like to think of this as a public square in the sense of Union Square in Manhattan and all sorts of other squares rather than as a rural park, although it has in the 20th century got the name of the 7th Street Park. So what is a public square? The grid of the city's design is interrupted to preserve public spaces, and they mark the termination of major streets and avenues and provided visual focal points at intersections. They became the centers of neighborhoods or civic identity, like with Union Square and Rittenhouse Square. And there was an opportunity that the squares afforded for recreation, light, fresh air, and a mixing of the citizenry. So Hudson's public square was at the terminus of the Columbia Turnpike. This is the 20-mile road that goes all the way to Hillsdale, Massachusetts. And it was the primary way that people got into Hudson was on the Columbia Turnpike. And the public square initially served as a staging area for goods that were delivered into and out of the city. This is a map that's, let's see if I can move this, 1888, 50 years later. And Walter, can you talk about this map for a second? Because you provided me with both of these maps.
Well, sure. So it's interesting that the square had been I think the terminus of the turnpike in the era before the railroads. And then when the railroad came, it was still the center of transport. And in fact, all of the industry, the freight depots, the air furnace, everything was up around this area. And it, became a 19th century transportation nexus.
It's hard for us to see it that way now because it's been interrupted, although it does still have a train running through it. Here, and I'd like to thank Carol Osterink, who has covered this park so extensively in the past 10 or more years. The postcards, much of the illustrations come from the Gossips of Rivertown. So what happened is that the City Beautiful movement occurred in America, in Hudson, as well as the rest of America. And over time, the freight yard that was at the center of this transportation hub had become an unsightly spot. And there was a beautification effort in 1883 that was supported by, and this is an important list, it was supported by the railroad company. They provide a lot of money, the Common Council itself, the citizens of Hudson, and the local press all got together to make, I think what we can agree is a very attractive park in the middle of this, what had been an ugly staging area. So the beautified square, what did it have? I think people looking at this postcard, and again, thank you to Carol, will see a square that looks very different from the 7th Street Park that we're used to seeing, although there are some similarities. You can see the railroad tracks. You can see that the sidewalks in the park, or the pathways in the park, go to the middle of the sidewalks, which is, I think Matthew Frederick has pointed out, is questionable, but it's the original design. Anyway, you can see a few, 5 or 6 well-placed trees, quite low. You can see lots of sunlight. You can see, maybe not in this slide, but this slide, you can see these beautiful, graceful benches, which also are, were down in Promenade Park by the river. You can see that there were not cars parked around the park, and that might seem unfair to say because they didn't have cars then, but you don't see that there's a whole bunch of carriages parked around the park either. So the park was a place to stroll and a place to rest on the benches, to chat. And as you see in European cities too, the park is surrounded by buildings on the adjacent streets. Now, we all know this. Everyone lives in Hudson knows this. At the center of the fountain, at the center of the park, there was this 19th century kind of Victorian fountain. This one was 18 feet tall, had a marble octagonal base, and rising from the fountain was a statue of Venus, the goddess of love. She was being lifted by cupids and fish. And how wonderful to have the goddess of love at the top of Diamond Street. You can see the fountain here. Note that one postcard calls it the Public Square in Hudson, New York. One calls it the City Square. You can see the lovely benches. And here on the one on the right, it says, "I was here today, Effie." So, you know, the City Square was something of a centerpiece in Hudson back in the late 19th century. So, what happened? Oh, this is a great picture that was just put on the Facebook recently. You can see the train going through it. And you can see that there were 2 tracks, not just one. But you still see the fountain over there. And pardon me?
I don't think that's a train on the left, that's a trolley.
Trolley. Yes, Tom, you see the trolley next to the train tracks. Thank you. Good correction. Okay, so what happened? Well, this picture is funny. It's the one that I took the day that I decided to start getting active on this on Facebook. I took this picture and I put it on Facebook, and there was so much reaction, I decided to start a page called the Friends of the 7th Street Park. But this picture is Inspiration Fountain as it currently looked, at least last summer. What happened was there was another beautification project, this one a little less successful than the last one. Venus was removed from the fountain, and the goddess of love was replaced by a lighted mechanized jet spray. The work on Inspiration Fountain was done by the Hudson DPW. Now, what really got me interested in this and got so many people interested, there's a friend of mine, Adrian Schramm, and she put on Facebook, I have a stupid question. My daughter wants to know why there's fences around the fountain. I said, this is not a stupid question. This is a very good question. Why are there not one, but 2 rings of fences around that fountain? And moreover, why is there a high voltage sign on the fountain? So no more seating in the square around the fountain. Another thing about the park that I think we all know is that trees, as is their wont, grow very tall and they tower over the square. Norway maples, it's an invasive species. They volunteered in the square and they're not very good for the plants that might grow under them. They cast a deep shade and the tree roots have broken up the pavement. Now this I owe Vince Mulford called my attention to this. I had a picture of these little spirea bushes, these little bushes in the bottom. And Vince said, you know, those are spirea bushes. I'm like, really? Because if you look at the top, you'll see what spirea bushes are supposed to look like. Okay, they're called, like, you know, wedding, whatever. They have these wonderful sprays of white, little tiny white blossoms, but not the ones in the park. The ones in the park are all clipped, so they don't bloom at all. And they're all over the park, by the way. All right, and then the benches. Here on the upper right, there's a bench. You can see the benches in Promenade Park the way that they used to be. Very lovely, comfortable seating, graceful. And then down below, you see the benches that are made by the Department of Public Works for the park in Hudson. And they're cement, they're called plank benches, I think. They're just flat planks. And because of the way the earth has settled, I think it's kind of funny that they're all different heights, and some of them you can't really get your feet to the ground. One thing that's really sad about the park is the lack of maintenance. I mean, if you look at the ground, it is not something a proud city would be proud about. A railroad runs through it, which I think is terrific. I mean, children and old men, they love railroads, right? And something could be done to make this a really interesting feature of the park. You could even have historic railroads that, I mean, trains that ran through the park, because there's only one, you know, it only goes from one place to the other, back and forth once or twice a day. But the railroad tracks are now treated as something to barricade with these hideous bollards. It's a very unwelcoming, look at this sign. Glass objects of any kind are not permitted, dog waste, and then one of these classic Hudson plank garbage cans. And the park has various additions to it that don't necessarily add. You have this charming railroad crossing sign, wonderful. And then this clock next to it, which I won't say anything about because I once got in trouble for criticizing that clock. But anyway, down below, there's this tourist kiosk, which is all boarded up and tells you to go to the Columbia Chamber of Commerce, Columbia County Chamber of Commerce, but guess what? It's not open on weekends. So that is what is all too familiar to most people on this call. All right, Dale, I'm going to let you take over.
Okay, so I think everybody that lives in Hudson has an idea or an opinion about the 7th Street Park and any of the open spaces here in town. And there's a lot of strong feelings one way or another, but and before a design begins to happen, the idea that the Friends of Hudson 7th Street Park really are hoping to kind of at least start with is some short-term steps to kind of improve the park without a lot of effort. And you see on the list here, there's the removal of fences from around the fountain there, and some of the extraneous elements that Dorothy was just speaking about, appropriate pruning of trees and shrubs, or I should say maybe the lack of pruning of shrubs and the pruning of trees.
Right.
On the lower right are images sort of a tree that is kind of overgrown and that when effectively pruned ends up looking a lot like the trees. If you kind of can see in the faded photo in the background, the elms of the historic park. So it's appropriate pruning of trees in itself can really change the amount of light that the park gets. It also avoids having the damage of broken limbs from windstorms. So there's that in itself can do a whole lot. And then, as Dorothy also mentioned, the consideration of some alternate and inviting seating. And then sort of short of having kind of looking at the overall design of the park, what can one do with the structure of the park as it is today? Such as the fountain, is the fountain as it is today, can it be improved in any way? Replacement of paving from asphalt to something that might be more enjoyable to experience, as well as not being a tripping hazard. Sort of the appropriate landscaping that doesn't make people feel unsafe, but would be considered inviting. And then attractive lighting that might also invite people to feel like the park has a really wonderful pedestrian experience in the evening and feel safe. So how can the square, the reimagined square, best serve Hudson? And so we were thinking that some things, one of the things that has to happen is there needs to be community input. And it can't just be something that's hoisted onto the residents of Hudson. So some things to consider and think about are who are the users of the square. And I think this is an important thing to think about in the sense of day, night, and time of week. There are different people that use the park for different reasons and are and not everybody uses the park at the same time. So questions to ask. Should there be a cafe to help activate the space? When you activate a public space in one way or another, the space becomes more safe because you have eyes on the park. Which is one of the reasons why having the businesses around the park as we have it now is a great thing, because the more businesses there are and not closed up, there are more people that look out onto the park. Should the fountain in the park be interactive, a place where people can enjoy it for the cooling nature, the visual nature, but also the playful nature. But it can be a feature where that can also be turned off when it's not needed, or if the season doesn't allow for it. Another thought is, could the park or the square be the farmer's market? So in the center of the city, in a sense, along the main retail corridor, commercial corridor of the city, rather than off to the side in a parking lot or in a building on the edge of town. And also the square should really be flexible to allow, even if there's not a particular event that is typically planned for the park, but maybe in the future there could be something. And to have the space be organized in a way that allows for anything from performance to an outdoor movie to some sort of event that might happen, such as dancing or a political rally, which are two very different things. And then how to keep the square feeling inviting and safe and comfortable. Different ways that people use parks should be considered, and how they sit. And one type of seating doesn't necessarily work for all people. So these are all different things to consider in kind of thinking about how the park could be in the future. And then there are all sorts of different aspects of what the park can be without doing a whole lot to it. And part of that is just how the park is activated, whether there's a festival or there's food trucks or there's adequate shade, but not too much shade. Sort of the image on the upper right kind of talks about how an old square in the center of an urban center was reimagined to have that was dark and had a lot of unsafe activity occurring, was reimagined so that there was a place for flexible use and sunshine, but yet a lot of some of the valuable heritage trees were preserved and kept to one part of the park. Not that this is a design for Hudson, but it's just kind of shows how something can be looked at and effectively developed. And then there's the question of where the money comes from, and the intent is not, the money does not come from the city, because we all know that the city doesn't have a budget to redesign a park, but the intent is that the Friends Group would raise the money from grants and private fundraising. And the question of why to restore the park, most people probably don't think the park doesn't need to be restored or kind of improved, but it seems like as time goes on, the city of Hudson is becoming more and more filled with energy and diversity, and this part of town is getting new businesses. There's the proposed Depot District to the north and the Bronson Park to the south, and this would essentially be that kind of that open space knuckle that would help stitch them together. The tennis center potentially is being developed, and a new hotel around the corner is also being developed. And there are several local businesses that support the project, and this is just sort of a beginning list of people that have been approached so far. I believe that is the end of presentation.
Thank you. Can you take the screen down, please? And questions from the council first, if there are any for this group. I don't see any hands.
Well,
Rebecca,
it's Nope.
Rebecca, then you, Eileen.
Yep.
What is Bronson Park?
I'll answer that. There is a National Historic Landmark called Bronson House, which is on the grounds of the state prison. And it can be approached on Worth Avenue. And it's open once or twice or 3 times a year. And the leaseholders of the Bronson House is Historic Hudson. And what Historic Hudson would like to do is to form a park around Bronson House so that it would be accessible from the city. There's a way to get to Bronson House from behind where the police department is. And so you could get to that park by, along the railroad tracks there. And it's something that has widespread support in state government. And I'm not a member of the board of Bronson House, of Historic Hudson's. I don't have the latest on it, but they have made presentations about it recently. As recently as 3 or 4 months ago, they had an open house where they showed what they'd like to do to create a park for the city of Hudson on what is now state property owned by the Department of Corrections.
Eileen, you had a question?
No, I just wanted to say, I think it's exciting to see something and this amount of thought and interest going on for 7th Street Park. I think it'll make a big difference upstreet.
I think it's worth pointing out, by the way, they're not asking for any money. They just eventually get a memorandum of understanding with the city. It'll be all private fund. I mean, it's called a public-private cooperation, but it'll be all privately funded. There's a bunch of hands up. I'll take them in order. Ron Kupnicki.
Hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, first of all, if the park falls within the boundaries of the Warren Street Historic District, should the Historic Preservation Commission have a voice in this planning? And second, a second question, kiosk was mentioned, currently unused. Are there any plans for the use of the kiosk in this plan for the park? Thanks.
We don't have a plan for the park. What we would like to do initially is remove some of the problematic aspects of the park. For instance, the fences around the fountain. There is no plan right now. And a plan will have a lot of community input, including, one would expect, from the Historic Preservation Committee. I would note that Rick Rector, who was the chair of that committee for a number of years, was very, very supportive of working on the 7th Street Park. I don't really see that as a barrier.
Next up is John Kane.
I saw Jane's hand up, and Dominic, if I will defer to the people who are on the council first, if you guys want to, if you guys have.
Go ahead. It's not a problem.
Just a couple of quick questions. Dale, you had mentioned that the park could be used as a potential site for the farmer's market. Do you know what and not holding your feet to the fire here, do you know what roughly the square footage is of the usable park area versus the parking lot?
Don, I haven't done any kind of analysis on that. I know that every farmer's market has a whole set of criteria that they need to make it a viable operation. So that is a whole study that would need to happen. And there would probably be, coordination, interaction with the people who run the farmers market. So but it's a good question because it's, whether it's the park is big enough for the farmers market, or if it is some sort of an annex or something, would be something you can
also have a waterfront, and that could still be a square. But anyway, in some iterations of your thought process, would the grass be removed to just make this a square like Union Square? If you're looking at high traffic.
Can you say that again, John? I didn't understand it.
In some iterations of this, there's a lot of grass in that part.
Right.
In some iterations of your thought process, are you just paving over most of the park to make that sort of a square that is high traffic, as opposed to grass that's going to get trampled on by a ton of people?
It could be. And also, there are ways that they have in parks like in Paris where they use these little pebbles, it's not necessarily pavement.
Right. No, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Is the idea just among the three of you to have, and I mean, just a thought, is it to have a more traditional design, or is there a thought that, and I saw some of this in Dale's pictures, there seemed to be more, some more modern interpretations of what a square could look like or what a fountain could look like. Are you guys kind of committing yourself to having that fountain in the middle of the square?
No, there's no commitment to anything. I would say that I am keenly aware of the controversy that involves that fountain. And I'm keenly aware of the views of many of the citizens of Hudson that the fountain should be restored. And so whatever happens, we'll have community input.
Okay. And does anybody know, last question, I promise, Tom. Does anybody know what the condition of that soil is since there's been trains from CSX running through there for years?
No.
I don't.
Okay.
Hey,
Thank you.
Dominic. I'm sorry, Dominic? Dominic, you have your hand up?
Yes, thank you. I want to thank everyone for their presentation. It's very exciting as one that grew up here and remember 7th Street Park, you know, in the heyday. Spout had a lot of activities there, you know, vendors, and I got to enjoy the fountain without a gate, you know, and I think this is very exciting. And also that that the crosswalk signals are targeted for 2 ends of the park, you know, so hopefully that would also encourage, you know, some, you know, re-interest in the 7th Street Park and get it in safety. So thank you for this presentation. I think this is a great movement.
Thank you.
Calvin, you have a question?
Yes. Thanks, Tom. Yes, and I agree. This was a great presentation. I just had reservations for the kiosk on behalf of the tourism board. There were some thoughts about utilizing that as a point of contact for tourists. And so that's just something I wanted to make you aware of going forward.
That's a great point. That's a great point. I mean, my reaction to the kiosk is because it's boarded up and it refers people to the Columbia Chamber of Commerce, which is closed on the weekends.
Right.
Yes, we're not boarded up. I don't think I would have the same reaction.
If I could just make a comment, that's a really good pivot point, because the first part of the idea would be to eliminate what you would call negatives, to have a no negatives. So anything that's not welcoming, like a boarded up kiosk, anything that's unintentionally ironic in suggesting the place is not happening should be banished, because the place is happening.
Indeed, indeed.
Thank you, Walter. Calvin, Jane, did you still want to ask a question?
Thanks. No, I wasn't going to ask a question. I just wanted to echo the words of encouragement and thank everyone for their thoughtful design and thinking about this. It's such a critical sort of meeting point, and as has been mentioned, a welcoming center for people coming in to the city from the east. So I commend everybody and anxious to see next steps. That's it.
Yeah, let me just say something about, can I just say something about the organization that we have right now? Because we are just 3 people and a few other people that we've spoken to, and we're not really a group, and we haven't figured out yet how to structure ourselves. And therefore, you know, we have been speaking to the Hudson Parks Conservancy, but we don't have any arrangement with them. We're hopeful that we will, because they have a 501c3 status, and that helps for donations very much. But we need to figure out how we're going to organize ourselves as far as being a group that has maybe a board, that has members, that has supporters. And so that's the direction that we need to go in. However, we don't really want to go there until we have some assurance that the city supports what we're doing and would enter into some sort of memorandum of understanding, so that we wouldn't just be spinning our wheels and not getting anywhere.
Okay, thank you. One last question, Malachi.
Yes, how you doing, everybody? Just my concern was thinking about that the fence around, the fence around it. Is that due to maybe in the past there were some incidents that occurred that maybe the fence was there for maybe safety purposes or reasons? Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, we've heard some explanation for the fences, because there's 2 of them. And we also have heard an explanation about the high voltage sign. We've heard that someone put bubble bath in the fountains. We're not sure about the safety aspect, but I would note that most fountains in America don't have fences around them.
Okay, thank you. On that note, we're going to end that and get to business here. Thank you, all three of you, for presenting. We need to move
you.
along here. Okay. Shaheem, can you put up the first resolution, please? Yep. Okay. Unless there's some comment, can I have a roll call vote, please, Tracy?
Alderman Garriga.
Tiffany? Still with us? Oh, she's here. Tiffany, you're muted. Tiffany?
Can you hear me?
Now we can, yes. How do you vote on the first resolution?
Aye.
Thank you.
Halloran,
Aye.
Lewis,
Aye.
Moranti,
I'm sorry, Tom, I'm on the phone, so I read the resolutions, but
Oh, right, you're
number-
related. You probably want to recuse yourself on this one.
did Rebecca recuse her when she said aye? For her commissioner?
Is she related to your cousin, your nephew? I'm confused.
No, when she was a commissioner of deeds, she voted for herself.
Oh, well.
Few
Jeff,
weeks- few weeks back.
Oh, I actually recused myself.
I thought she did, yeah.
Okay, all right, I know, I was asking, I didn't know, and then
Yeah,
I have no problem recusing myself, I abstain.
is Alderman Mizan in attendance?
Sure, are you here? I don't think so.
No, he's not here.
No, Dewan is here though, but good.
Thank you. Rosenthal,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
Trombley, Walker,
Aye.
Wolf,
Aye.
President DiPietro.
Aye. Next resolution, please. Oh, I'm sorry. Next resolution, please, Shaheem. That's it? Ooh. Okay, this has already been introduced and seconded. Any further conversation? And
This Eileen, I do have a question. Is there still a requirement for a monthly report on violation and arrest data?
No, I think we kept the quarterly.
Okay, good.
That
Then
information, right,
yeah.
the information is available at the police station.
Right,
The feeling is that when you, it's not statistically useful information.
right.
Let's say in
Right.
1 month, 100 white people were stopped for traffic violations. That would not really tell you anything because it's not hard word, statistically meaningful. And
Right.
that's why we went with quarterly.
Yep,
So
I agree. Yep, thank you.
you're welcome. Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Garriga,
Aye.
Halloran,
Aye.
Lewis,
Aye.
Moranti,
Aye.
Rosenthal,
Aye.
Sauer,
Aye.
Trombley,
Aye.
Walker,
Aye.
Wolf,
Aye.
President DiPietro.
Aye.
Carried.
Thank you, Tracy. The next resolution, please, Shaheem. This is to accept the police reform plan provided by the mayor's office in fulfillment of the governor's order to have a plan. Any further conversation from council? In that case, can I have a roll call vote, please? Eileen, I'm Eileen. Tracy, you could do it, Eileen.
Alderman Garriga. Alderman Garriga,
Aye.
Halloran,
Aye.
Lewis,
Aye.
Moranti,
Aye.
Rosenthal,
Aye.
Sauer,
Aye.
Trombley,
Aye.
Walker,
Aye.
Wolf,
Aye.
President DiPietro,
Aye.
carried.
Thank you, Tracy. Next resolution, please. As you recall, last week we heard from, oh, sorry, Fire Department. Got the wrong one. Fire Department donations. I assume this needs no conversation. Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Alderman Garriga,
Aye.
Halloran,
Aye.
Lewis,
Aye.
Moranti,
Aye.
Rosenthal,
Aye.
Sauer,
Aye.
Trombley,
Aye.
Walker,
Aye.
Wolf,
Aye.
President DiPietro,
Aye.
carried.
And thank you to Time and Space Limited, Joseph Gallo, and Dive Master Services. The next resolution, please. As you recall, last week, Hillary Hillman explained what this is about. This is a position completely funded by a grant. And unless there's, also on the website is the actual contract. Is there any further comment from the council? In that case, Tracy, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Alderman Garriga,
Aye.
Halloran,
Aye.
Lewis,
Aye.
Moranti,
Aye.
Rosenthal,
Aye.
Sauer,
Aye.
Trombley,
Aye.
Walker,
Aye.
Wolf,
Aye.
President DiPietro,
Aye.
carried.
Thank you. Okay, Shaheem, we start with the new resolutions, meaning ones we did not see last week. DPW transfers. Pretty self-evident what this is,
Aye.
to cover expenses for our recent snow removal. Any questions from the council? In that case, can I have an introduction, please?
Eileen, go ahead, Calvin.
All right. Calvin, I'll introduce.
And I
I'll
assume,
second.
Eileen, a second, a roll call vote, please.
Alderman Garriga,
Aye.
Halloran,
Aye.
Lewis,
Aye.
Moranti,
Aye.
Rosenthal,
Aye.
Sauer,
Aye.
Trombley,
Aye.
Walker,
Aye.
Wolf,
Aye.
President DiPietro,
Aye.
carried.
The next resolution, please, Shaheem. This is authorizing the reinstatement of full-time account clerk position in the city clerk's office. Tracy, can you explain? This does not require a budget change, correct?
No, it does not. There is money in the account to pay for it.
To pay for it. So this is, as you may know, Kim Getz recently retired, even though she's still on leave by contract. And this position is fully funded. Any questions?
And who's sitting in this position now?
I don't think there's anyone. It's empty.
So the reinstatement of, okay. So it's just a reinstatement for the position and then someone would be hired.
Exactly.
Okay.
Any other questions?
So this is a civil service, so it would
Yes,
be
it
a
is.
test.
Yes, it
Okay,
is.
so you call for a test and then somebody be hired off the test?
Correct. Can I have an introduction, please?
Eileen, I'll introduce.
A second, please.
Alvin, I'll second.
Ah, a little reversal there. A roll call vote, please.
I'm sorry, I do actually have just a question. Sorry,
Okay.
Rebecca. So remember when all the departments were asked to reduce, was this position reduced after the mayor requested that all departments reduce by 10%, or was this?
No.
Okay. Okay. Thanks. I just wanted to understand that.
Okay. I'm sorry, roll call vote, please. And that was an aye from Tiffany. I think.
Halloran,
Aye.
Lewis,
Aye.
Moranti,
Aye.
Rosenthal,
Aye.
Sauer,
Aye.
Trombley,
Aye.
Walker,
Aye.
Wolf,
Aye.
President DiPietro.
Aye.
Thank you.
Next resolution, please, Shaheen. This too is another part-time position that is in the budget. And this is just so they could proceed with hiring. And as you can see, the paperwork has been submitted to the civil service, so it is a civil service position. Can I have an introduction, please?
Calvin, I'll introduce.
Thank you. A second, please.
I'll second. Malachi.
Malachi, thank you. A roll call vote, please.
Alderman Garriga,
Aye.
Halloran,
Aye.
Lewis,
Aye.
Moranti,
Aye.
Rosenthal,
Aye.
Sauer,
Aye.
Trombley,
Aye.
Walker,
Aye.
Wolf,
Rebecca, you're muted.
Sorry, I said aye.
President DiPietro.
Aye.
Carried.
Thank you. Next resolution, please, Shaheen. So this resolution sort of renews something that's been in the works for a long time. You're probably familiar, the Everett Knack Estuary Education Center, the Hudson Sloop Club is renewing its effort to establish the center. I think there were some delays at one point. But are there any questions? Oh, actually, let's have an introduction first.
Calvin, I'll introduce.
Calvin, and a second, please.
Eileen, I'll second.
Thank you, Eileen. Any questions? Okay, in that case, can I have a roll call vote, please?
Alderman Garriga,
Aye.
Halloran,
Aye.
Lewis,
Aye.
Moranti,
Aye.
Rosenthal,
Aye.
Sauer,
Aye.
Trombley,
Aye.
Walker,
Aye.
Wolf,
Aye.
President DiPietro.
Aye.
Carried.
Thank you. Next resolution, please, Shaheen. The lead service. This is a contract. This is to authorize the mayor to sign a contract for the lead service line replacement program. This is, one of those ongoing projects that is funded through grants. And this allows the mayor to sign the contract. And it's very important to know that there is no immediate risk or long-term risk to residents from the lead in the public water supply. But eventually we will get all these pipes changed, I hope. Especially, actually, if you've been following, this is a side note, one of the major aspects of the grant money that's coming through from the Biden's 1.9 billion plan is outlined in New York State for water and sewer. So we're hoping Rob can maximize his grant getting abilities to get this done in the future. Putting that aside, can I have an introduction, please?
Calvin, I'll introduce.
Thank you, Calvin. A second, please.
Rebecca.
Thank you, Rebecca. Any questions?
I just have a comment. I hope we find some answers and some results to this resolution and this program that will take place, because we are seeing a lot of babies being born with seizures and adults having seizures out of nowhere. And a lot of people are looking into the water system. So I hope there's some results that comes out of that moving forward.
Thank you. Anyone else? A roll call vote, please, Tracy.
Alderman Garriga,
Aye.
Halloran,
Aye.
Lewis,
Aye.
Moranci,
Aye.
Rosenthal,
Aye.
Sauer,
Aye.
Trombley,
Aye.
Walker,
Aye.
Wolf,
Hi, I'm sorry, I'm late with this question. I just wondered, so in the second whereas it says phase 2 will apply the remainder of the award to benefit various residents in the rest of the city in 2022. And I just wondered if somebody knows how that will be determined, like which residents?
No idea. I assume it's to benefit. I assume it's the areas where the pipes are still needed to be replaced. It's all about replacing pipes. And
Right.
There's a schedule for that. But we're in the middle of a vote now, so
Okay.
sorry.
Okay. Aye.
Is that a yes or no?
President DP.
Oh.
Yeah. I
Yes.
believe she said yes. Aye, correct? Thank you. President DiPietro.
Yes, thank you. I mean, you can sure follow up with that with Rob, Rebecca. Sorry.
Yeah, I will as well.
Yes. So next resolution, please, Shaheen. These are some transfers in the youth budget. Let's start with the introduction in a second, then we'll.
I have just a general question. Is it typical for a department to be paying attorney fees?
That I can't answer.
I mean, regardless, I mean, it seems like it's
Yeah.
happening.
I do not know. Who's that?
Oh, Rebecca, also wanted to know more about this because basically I wanted to know what is the usual procedure for attorney fees? Like, I think the police department also had legal fees and I wondered, did the police department pay their legal fees?
I don't think so. I think,
I can answer this if you want, Tom.
Who's that?
It's Kamal.
Oh, Mr. Mayor, I didn't know you were here. Sorry. Please do.
Certain attorney fees, when they have to do with the labor attorney, which is hired separate from a regular city and council attorney costs extra. So each department that is using the labor attorney, that portion of the fees is coming out of their account.
So that happened with the police department as well.
Yes, it's happening with the police department, with my office, the youth department, every department that has to use the labor attorney as we like kind of clean up some of the issues that have kind of been lingering throughout the years.
Mhm. Thanks.
Can I have an introduction, please?
Calvin, I'll introduce.
A second?
Duan.
Duan.
I
Any
have
fur-
a question.
Okay.
I
Tiffany?
just want to know, when has this ever been done before? Because the police came from the general funds.
Yeah, this is just started last year, especially as we fell into, really having to look at the budget and having, so many departments that needed to lead on, the labor attorney. It really just, it wasn't enough for us to be able to cover.
And what exactly is this for?
And it could be for a number of things. I mean, they could have needed to call the labor attorney on any type of issues or clarification that was used by the youth center. So usually what will happen is we'll pay for it from the legal counsel budget, and then that money will kind of be transferred out of the department that covered it. So we've had to use the labor attorney a number of times this year on different issues in different departments.
I'm sorry, and it's Rebecca, and you're saying all those times that the labor attorney is used, the department pays those fees.
Correct.
But specifically, I mean, there's been a lot of activity certainly around unionizing in the youth departments. I'm just curious as specifically what this is about.
Yeah, this has nothing to do with that. That's a separate conversation.
I have a question, another one.
Go ahead, Tiffany.
Is this for the CWA union organizing?
I think that's what
No.
John just asked. Yes. I mean, no.
Well, I didn't hear him.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what John just asked. But no, this is totally different.
Mr. Mayor, this is Jane. How typical is it that we transfer, as much as $3,400 into an attorney fee thing? I mean, I don't know. In my experience on the council, I haven't seen this before. I don't recall. It seems to be an unusual circumstance.
I mean, we've done it all through last year. A lot of you guys have known about some of the grievances and some of the kind of things that we needed to clear up that occurred over the years. And the only way to do that is to bring in a professional who can help us handle that.
So this would have been grievances that would have occurred a while ago. I mean, not just in the past. I mean,
well, it could be things that are
they've
continuous,
been building
issues
up.
that are continually the labor attorney is help working through. So that could be, the hire of a new position and working with civil service and the labor attorney. It could be, the issue that is kind of being cleared up now with, 1099 employees. There's a number of things.
Well, can we get the specifics, please? I mean, even if we have to go to executive session to get it. And also, I want to know, why didn't the police department fees get transferred before the council?
I'm not sure what they used the labor attorney for before this meeting. I don't know. I can't answer that.
Well, we need some specifics. Can we go into executive session or Are you gonna relay that to message this mayor or?
I mean, you would have to reach out to the director. I'm not sure exactly what, the labor attorney worked with them on this particular invoice.
I would be happy to go over any of these things. I don't know if it has to go into executive session or not, but I could detail the issues that were brought up that needed the labor attorney.
Please do.
Do we have to go into executive session or?
Jeff, what do you think?
I'm not exactly sure what we're talking about or in terms of the detail. I know some of them. I would suggest we go into executive session because we're talking.
I agree
about
with it too, because
potential personnel and attorney-client privilege materials.
Well, I make a motion to go into executive session so we can get the specifics to this answer before we vote on
I'll second
anything.
it.
Jane, second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed?
And let me just, for the purposes of the executive session, you're going to be inviting in the mayor and Nick.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Maya too, probably, right?
Oh, yeah, and the commissioner.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay, so Shaheem, can you start putting people in the waiting room? This is an executive session. first, Tiffany, so I can get everybody in. And then when they're all in.
Yep.
Got one more here. Oh, another. Okay, everybody should be in. We came out of the executive session. No decisions were made. That's it. It was a personnel matter, sort of. So we're gonna, with Shaheem, can you put up that last resolution again, please?
Also put it in live and record.
Oh, yeah, me too. Shaheem? Okay. Eileen, do you have a question before we do that?
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know, Dominic has been trying to get in and has been unable to. And I don't know if you can bring him in now that we're back at the original site for Zoom.
Dominic, are you in? I can't see him. Well, hold on a second. Let me just check in the participants if he's in the. There's no one in the waiting room.
Yeah, he said he got bumped off.
Ooh. I guess you don't watch.
I think he's there if he's the iPhone.
Dominic, are you there? Unmute yourself if you are.
I'm finally here.
Okay. Everybody was bumped at one point. Look, we want to amend this. Oh wait, here's somebody else. Can I have a motion to amend this resolution to just have the second half, the $2,800 from the youth program to youth personnel?
Calvin, I'll make a motion.
Calvin, a second?
Rebecca.
Rebecca, thank you. All those in favor of that amendment?
Wait, Tom, can we even can we do that? Didn't we vote on that?
No.
Oh, all right, sorry.
No. So so all those in favor of the amendment, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Opposed, because I have no idea what went on in executive session.
Okay, in that case, I guess we need a roll call vote, right, Jeff? Or not?
That's just on the amendment, but yeah, do a roll call. It'll be better.
Okay, so Tracy, can I have a roll call vote on amending, well, you heard the amendment, to just delete the first half of this resolution?
And Tom, can you summarize why we wanted to do that just quickly, so for Dominic?
There were issues about, it's hard with that, since it was a matter in the executive session, but.
Well, if I may, Tom.
Yeah.
I think what the council was looking at for more information on about the policy and issues surrounding assessing attorney's fees to the departments.
Okay, I guess we're ready now. Now we're voting on the amendment. Roll call vote, please, Tracy.
Yeah.
Alderman Garriga,
Aye.
Halloran,
Aye.
Lewis,
Calvin, you're muted.
Aye.
Moranti,
No.
Rosenthal,
Aye.
Sauer,
Aye.
Trombley,
Aye.
Walker,
Aye.
Wolf,
Aye.
President DiPietro.
Aye. So now that's been amended, we're just voting. I need an introduction and a second for that second half of that resolution. An introduction, please.
Calvin, I'll introduce.
Thank you, Calvin. Second,
Rebecca.
Rebecca. Roll call vote, please. Tracy?
Alderman Garriga,
Aye.
Halloran,
Aye.
Lewis,
Aye.
Moranti,
Same reason, no.
Rosenthal,
Aye.
Sauer,
Aye.
Trombley,
Aye.
Walker,
Aye.
Wolf,
Aye.
President DiPietro.
Aye.
Carries.
Okay, that's it for resolutions. Can you put up, Shaheem, the local law? Oops, what's that? That's that.
Tom,
Yes.
before you put up, I mean, with the local law, I thought we had a discussion that we're going to go with quarterly instead of yearly, so we can see trends in housing.
I'm sorry, what?
In the notification of the local law regarding the.
Can we put that up first so I know what you're talking
fair,
about? Yeah, hold on.
Fair housing.
You're ahead of us. Hold on. Let's put up the version so we can all see it. Shaheem, please. Now, what are you saying?
Where it says that reporting to the council, can we change it to quarterly? I thought we discussed that quarterly so we can see housing trends rather than yearly.
Yeah, I remember that too, Rebecca.
Okay, we can have that amended.
It says that in there.
Oh, you have the old one, I think.
This has the, yeah, and this doesn't have the amended, we sent the amended one around.
Yeah.
And it does.
Oh, okay. Okay. So the one on the website is the one I read, and so maybe that's wasn't updated.
It was,
I apologize.
it was changed from render each quarter to the mayor and to the common council written report.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem.
The revised local law is available on the city website.
Okay. So, may I have an introduction in a second, please?
Calvin, introduce.
Rebecca, beat you, Calvin. And Calvin, you'll be the second.
All right.
Now, may I have a motion and a second to lay the proposed local law on our desks? So I need another introduction and a second.
Calvin, I'll introduce.
Calvin, who will second?
Rebecca.
A nice little reversal there. And that's that for now. That's all our business. Now we can, Shaheem, oh, thank you. Well done. So new business from the council first. Anything? Does that mean anything, Eileen?
Yep. Yes, it does.
Does anybody want to talk about the potential unionizing that's going on?
I'm sorry. What?
The youth department unionizing? You want to talk about that? Or voice support for it, or?
I mean, I could talk about that too, if necessary.
If you just want to talk about it. Sure.
I'm not. What do you mean, John? I mean, like what?
I mean, it's a development. I think that we should at least recognize it's happening.
Hey,
Talk
Tom.
about it, John.
It's Kate Tracy. I'm wondering if John Rosenthal could just talk about, like, I feel like we're all talking around each other a little bit. John, like, what are you getting after?
Well, it's an exciting development. I'm just saying, it was in the news today, and it's exciting.
Can you be more specific, John?
Whoa. John, start. What? I couldn't understand exactly what you want.
No one at all on the council has commented about what was in the paper today and what is happening potentially at the youth department. So so I'm curious what we think about it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see it was in today's paper.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Eileen, I didn't see anything and haven't heard about it. I do want to know about it, but not until 11 o'clock.
Matt, John, introduce it. I mean, you kind of have.
I'm just curious what is going on. What I know.
I thought you knew.
For those of us who don't know, John, could you just summarize what the article spoke of?
The members of the youth department have decided, or are trying to, I don't know what the mayor could address this maybe more specifically, are seeking to form a union under a different union than the CSEA. And I think it's called the Communications Workers, according to the article. And they were at City Hall today, so it's just curious as to what this is, because
I see. I get the hard copy and that's not gonna be till tomorrow.
It was a later, it was in the, my computer was all shot today. It was a later
Well, I
story.
don't know how we can address that without information unless, I don't know if there's anybody here to speak to it.
And why would we address it without knowing more? Do we have a role in something like that?
I don't know. I mean,
No idea.
Well, John, I think you should put together a supportive resolution if you'd like
I'm
to.
just curious of what's going on.
Me too now.
Yeah.
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 Me
Yeah,
too.
I can give
I didn't know.
a
I didn't
brief.
today.
You want to say something, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, sure. I can give a brief update.
Well, thank you.
So at the end of last year, I believe around October, the CWA union reached out to me on behalf of the youth center. They didn't feel like they were getting the best. Well, they're not getting any representation by CSEA. I'm not sure what the long-term issues are between CSEA and why youth center employees were not allowed into the union. I met with the CWA union in late October, and I spoke to them, and I told them, I'm totally on board with the youth center, with them coming on to basically represent the youth center as their union. I also did that in writing and in person. And speaking with the labor attorney, I wanted to make sure that the process is done legally. So it's not seen as anything poaching, because the CSEA does represent a number of employees in the city. I referred the representative from CWA to the labor attorney to make sure that everything is ironed out before I sign anything. If you read the newspaper today, you'll hear me say that there was an extreme lack of communication from the union. And then there was supposed to be a conference on March 22nd, which was postponed until April 14th, I believe. So, I am in support of the CWA unionizing the youth center, but I can't sign anything unless, I get the okay that it's good to go from the attorneys. The CWA wants me to sign right away. I'm not comfortable with that until the attorneys kind of give the okay, just to protect myself and to protect, the city from any liability.
Okay, so there's a dialogue then.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for contextualizing all of that for us.
Kate, can you hold on, Kate? It's just council people first, and then but thank you for anyway.
So there's an article the article's been posted in the chat for anybody who wants to get it.
Posted in the chat. There should be no chat. Sorry.
Oh, well,
there is.
Yeah, people chatting.
No, it's just one thing.
It's the article if people are
Yeah,
curious.
I mean the article.
Okay. We got it. The chat is disabled. I think I've explained that long ago. Why? Because there's no equivalent of a chat in a public meeting. If we were in person, so you could whisper to your neighbor and that wouldn't be recorded. But anyway, moving right along. Other comments from the council first, or questions, anything?
I mean, I just want to say I'm in deep support of the need for representation for the workers at the youth center.
Okay.
Great.
Anyone else?
I got one.
Hey, Malachi, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, is there any updates on that gym equipment stuff for that the park?
Yes, there is an update. We just got the bids back on the park, and the lowest bid, I believe, was 500,000 over budget. So some things are going to be needing to be scaled back so that we can rebid again. So doubt that that would make it in.
All right. Thank you.
Remember, Malachi, don't give up hope, because as I said before, we've been told that once we proceed with this project in Promenade Hill, we will be in better standing for further grants towards the park. So
Yeah.
it's not hopeless.
That's correct.
And I'm also considering, the 7th Street Park project as well. Maybe there's something, like I said, gym equipment up there as
Yeah,
well.
well, that conversation's further off. but
Yeah, I'm just tossing things out there.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Tiffany, you have a question or a comment?
Yes, I would also like to say, and in agreement with Rebecca, that I also am in support of the youth department unionizing, and I stand with them.
Yeah, that's long overdue. That should have been happened, but again, throwing things out there.
Okay.
And like I was saying, I want to throw my support for the youth department with the CWA unionizing, and I stand with them. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'll open up to the public now. Questions and comments, new business. And I was criticized last meeting for moving to an adjournment too quickly. So take your time. Let's see, we have one here, John Kane.
I guess my question, I was glancing at the article about the unionization, and I guess to Rebecca, to Malachi, and to Tiffany, are there particular issues going on at the youth department that you think require unionization, or are you just sort of pro collective bargaining in general? I mean, is it just a general support for collective bargaining, or are there specific issues? Are there issues specific to the youth department that you feel this addresses?
I mean, everybody should have representation.
Agreed.
I think hospitality.
That question speaks to motive, and I don't really.
No, I think that I think that if people are saying that they support it, I'd like to know if there's something going on specifically at the youth department that they think justifies this, or if this is just collective bargaining in general for workers.
They need representation. They've been left out of the union as employees in general at the CSEA, so it's good for them to be organizing, in my opinion. So I support them as well.
Okay.
Right. I support collective bargaining for workers.
No, agreed.
Is that it, John?
Yeah, that was my question. That was it.
Thank you. Vanessa Bear.
Left out of the city union, John. So yeah, we're in support of them.
Yes, I can speak to this. This is Vanessa Bear. I'm program coordinator at the youth department. I have been working there for a total of 10 years, 8 years part-time, and for the last 2 years full-time. And I have not been invited ever to be a part of CSEA. In fact, after a month of gaining employment there full-time, I got a very unofficial letter, not on CSEA letterhead. It basically felt like an intimidation letter or just a rejection letter. There was nothing union about it. And I don't know why someone wouldn't want my union dues or my union support. I want to be a part of this, but I have felt from the start that I was just never wanted. And, everyone needs protection. So I just really, I want to have agency in choosing better healthcare, because my healthcare right now is not adequate. And I also just want worker protection. I also believe that part-time workers should be allowed to be part of a union, because they make up a huge part of our workforce and they don't get the protection that they need. So, I'm just going to stick to that for now. If anyone else has any questions, I'm happy to speak to that. Thank you for hearing.
Thank you. Tiffany.
Comment.
Yep.
Yeah. Just wanted to say pro collective bargain and the right for workers to organize, especially seeing that most of our employees in the youth department are people of color that work there. So this is very important. They need representation. I don't know who would want to disagree with that.
Anyone else? I think our unanimous support of the hospital workers demonstrates that we are probably a pro-union council. I think we can say that fairly, speaking for all of us, unless somebody wants to contradict that. Anybody else have any questions or comments?
Yes, can we please draft a resolution in support?
Yeah, I see.
I would.
Let's
let
wait.
me-
Oh,
let
go
me-
ahead, Jeff. Go ahead, Jeff.
I don't pretend to be a labor lawyer, but I know it is complex, and I defer to the mayor having some discussions already to the extent that there's a possibility of a conflict with the CSEA, that the city could possibly put it in a position that is unintended on that. Let's just wait until we figure out what the legal issues are to make sure we don't do anything inadvertent.
Right.
It's not questioning, your support for collective bargaining and representation, but beyond that, I think let's just wait to find out what's appropriate.
Well, in the meantime, can you just have one on standby so we can vote on it in the future? Because they'll be waiting until October.
No, I think that's right. I think, we'll look into this, and I think, by the next meeting, we'll have a better idea in terms of, what the parameters of what the city can do here.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Tiffany. Anyone else before we end? Okay, it's that time. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Calvin, a second.
Becca.
Rebecca. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you all.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Good night, all.